okay? Hey, everybody, recruiting Animal here. I'm in the mood, okay? I guess that's a good sign. And our guest today, I got a checklist of all the things I'm supposed to do on Zoom, okay? And I opened the drapes, so I've got some light. I set the gallery view. I've got the recording going. Now I'm going to introduce the guest, the famous Amy Miller. Okay, this the URL for this show is bitchfest.ca. I got that from her. Okay, she said, "You want just to be a bitch fest? Oh, look who's here." Michael G. Cox. Okay.
With my favorite new
I'm
Zoom
so
background.
jelly of that background, Michael.
You
I
like
need that.
Okay, and also Kendra. Kendra says that I can't read. Okay, but I'm pretty sure that
He doesn't read good.
She called Amy the J-Lo of female recruiters because she can dance all around hiring managers and candidates. Okay,
Yep.
Am I right, Kendra? The J-Lo. Okay.
Yeah, I said that.
I didn't. come
Triple
up-
threat.
Okay, so let me introduce Amy. Sorry, I'm taking so. I always find some way to waste the first 10 minutes of the show. If it's not a problem with the tech, it's just me blabbing. Okay, she is famous. She's working with a big company. We don't have to mention the name.
Doesn't matter.
She's been with a number of big companies. She's got a blog called recruitingyogapants.com. Is that right? Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay. She sells T-shirts with
Mhm.
slogans on them. Donna's not here today, but that tank top. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Quite legit.
I'm obviously not as blessed as Donna in some
I
capacity.
had to figure out, was that her? Yeah, I think it was. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, so if
Donna needs a reprint on hers.
I owe her
Had
one.
trouble.
I need to do a little redesign
Did you
and
buy
hook
that
her
for
up.
you? Okay, yeah, we won't. Go
Yeah,
into that.
we'll take care of Donna.
Okay, we won't go into that right now. But that store, your store for T-shirts is at recruiting@yogapants.com.
Yeah, just click on the shop link. Coffee mugs, T-shirts, hats.
Who would have thunk it? That girl
Who
who
would have thunk?
you used to buy T-shirts from some other girl.
I did. I used to.
disappeared.
I mean, I still support my friend, the Raging Recruiter.
She's
still a
gone. I
great-
never see her. Did she block?
Great store. You know, they're busy. They got a lot going on, but great store. Mine is in no way competing
No,
with
of
their
course not.
amazing.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Okay.
But all proceeds go to my local animal shelter because we are not making any money at this, y'all. I make the prices like as low as possible.
She saved a dog.
I donate about $22 a month to the local animal shelter through this effort.
Okay. Let me get to it. Okay. So also she posts regularly tips for job hunters on YouTube under the Amy Miller account. Is that right?
Yes,
And I listen to a lot of them. Okay. At double speed.
at
So I
double
can
speed.
Listen to more. Okay.
So you learn faster.
Yeah, well, instead of 10 hours, it was 20. Okay, so anyway, okay, but there's one thing, a final thing of the intro, and I'm sorry, I'm always apologizing now. I go on so long. Okay,
Canadian.
this is how she thanked the people. This is how she thanks people who watch her videos. Okay, she said, "Thank you for making me back up my shit." Okay, you're never gonna hear me say anything like that here. It's fucking vulgar. Excuse me. That's terrible.
Is that terrible?
Shit. Yeah, back up my shit. Okay.
Back up my shit.
That's
My
awful.
stuff.
Okay. Now she also says there's people who seriously hate my guts right now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Why?
Because the truth hurts. It's
What truth?
painful.
What
truth?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I noticed that you dug some stuff up out of the archive. So maybe the truth about I think it's ludicrous to ask somebody to write a two-paragraph.
Is she a little loud? Is she a little loud?
Am I a little loud? Because I could get louder. I'll have a teenager come slam the door any minute.
I won't go. You go ahead. Maybe I just have to turn my volume down.
Maybe just turn it down a smidge. Been a while since I'm on the show. You forgot. Yep, there they go.
Nice.
On cue. I'm not going to ask somebody to write a two-paragraph letter about why they deserve my offer. Remember that one from 4 years ago? You revived that. That's some bullshit, some stinky bullshit, and I won't do it.
Yeah, but that's not from all these things you post on LinkedIn. Like you made fun of these junior recruiters who start giving advice, and some woman came back onto you hot and heavy, saying you are
The
ageist.
23-year-old life coaches.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, you are ageist. And also, I've got another quote from you where where is it what you say? Okay, here's what she says. Okay, she says recruiters find people for jobs, not the other way around. So
Yes.
I'm not going to sit back and pretend that you're going to be some kind of career advisor like a Jerry Maguire for me, because that's bullshit and we all know it. I don't care what a recruiter tells you. They're
lying.
They're lying. Okay. And I agree with you. Recruiters have a conflict of interest. You want to go take
Look, a recruiter is going to NPC you. A recruiter's, if there's a benefit to the recruiter, and there's no shame in that. If Michael is my candidate and it benefits me to try to pitch him to a number of other companies or try to use his background to get a foot in the door or try to get him placed at a place he wants to be, like, I'll do it. Those things are not necessarily mutually exclusive, but I'm not doing it out of the goodness of my heart. I'm doing it because I want to make some money and make a placement.
I don't know what you're talking about now. My point is
What?
this.
Dude,
okay?
how could you miss the point on that one?
I'm stupid, okay? That's Michael G. Cox, everybody. TheSalesRecruiter.com.
Hey, that's
Kendra,
right.
is your name secret or do you want me to say it even though it's in the corner of your picture?
Okay.
Kendra Sadler, okay? She's recruiting salespeople right now as well in Canada, in Quebec, in case you're interested. Not that you're watching, okay?
Yeah, where is everybody?
No, people don't, they're scared. They don't, they watch the recording. I don't even, anyway. Okay. Now here's what a recruiter posted this on Facebook. I got an in-mail about a recruiting gig with a large, well-known company. I respond that I don't want to make a move right now, but I'm open to a quick chat. This is about persuasion, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Baby steps.
His response was, well, it doesn't hurt to chat in case your situation. And then the recruiter said back to this other recruiter, what do you mean in case of my, or she said to herself, what do you mean in case of my situation changes? How about you ask me, what would be enticing enough for you to change your situation? But the point was there, the recruiter shouldn't wait for you to change. He should change you. Is that what is being said there? Do you agree
He
with that?
should understand your motivation for change. And then if he has something that can scratch that itch, then you have something to talk about.
Hi,
I don't know why we make this so complicated. It is not complicated. It's what do you want? Kendra, what would it take? What do you want to hear about from someone like me? What kind of role would get your interest? I don't want to waste your time. If I were to call you again in 6 months, what am I going to share with you in 6 months that it would actually make you want to take my call? Why is that such a hard concept? We come at this with such a me focus. I've got this role to fill. I've got to find a person that does this thing. And I get it. That's important. That's what we do. But when you're talking to a passive candidate, which is a whole other bullshit term we don't have to get into unless you really want to, like, just find out, what does the person want? What's their emotional currency? Write it down. Come back to them when you have it.
You see what I like about you? You take 5 minutes to say one sentence and you say it over and over again, but you say it in a lively way. So
I do.
I want to hear it.
She like mansplains herself.
Okay, are you dressed like me today because it's cold in Texas, Michael G. Cox, or is it?
Dude,
just
yes.
commodity?
We were down to like 9 Fahrenheit. It was ridiculous.
Oh,
You got electricity?
I did not lose electricity. Several people around us did.
Okay, no one's
Call it Amy-splaining.
Okay, no
We
one.
could coin a new phrase.
I just
Yeah.
wonder why.
Amsplaining.
I wonder why you're wearing your little hat there. Okay, so no, Amy, let's get this straight. So if someone,
Get it straight.
if you call somebody and that person says, yeah, I'm not interested in moving right now, a recruiter, hey, that's a cue to say, what's gonna make you want to move right now, not 6 months in the future, tomorrow. That's what
You can ask that way too. Why not? Hey, if your dream job dropped in my lap tomorrow, I want to make sure that I can tell you about it.
You
What would that
pushy
look like?
bitch! I don't want to hear from someone who pushes me when I say no. Okay, that's what they're going to write about you on Twitter.
Nobody's gonna. Nobody
Nobody's
has
going
the
to do
sack
that.
to do that.
I mean, you're upset because you're a nice Canadian and you don't like being talked to
I
like
can't
that.
do, if you're an American, get your tech right so I don't have to hear an echo when you talk on the speaker. Okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
Hey, if somebody's going to be offended by me showing interest in their career goals, that says a lot more about that person than it ever will about me.
No, that's not interest in your career goals. That's
Yes,
being
it is.
Yes, it
pushy.
is.
That's
For your-
exactly what it is. Because if
No.
I know what your career goals are, then I can make a decision on whether or not I should try to call you again tomorrow or next week or 6 months from now.
Or
Right
never.
on.
If I understand what it is that you want to hear from someone like me, then I am not wasting either of our times in the future.
Okay, somebody else take her on, or take me on.
Okay, let me take you on. Here's one thing that I do, Animal,
Who would agree
that,
with me? Nobody. Go
that
ahead.
works very nice. Nobody's going to argue against that fine point from Amy
It's
Miller.
logic.
Here's the thing. If I were to, so I do a lot of direct messaging on LinkedIn. And then when people respond and say, no, that job doesn't make sense for me, I'm not interested, I will immediately respond. And Alan, I'm about to send it to you. I'll send them a quick note that basically says, hey, regarding possible future job alerts, what might help is if you gave me some search parameters. And then I send titles, industries of interest, verticals you've covered in the past, minimum acceptable base, reasonable on target. And I go through all of these sections and I have it all on a template that I send with 2 clicks. And it's a tool that I use on LinkedIn, and I send that message a lot. And the overwhelming majority of individuals send me back their response with their exact search parameters. And most of them never hear from me again because I don't have every job.
Hey, Michael, I really like that text you just sent me.
I love
By
it.
the way, I would like to be the quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so keep your eyes open.
I'm on it. Hey, the good thing is you're in the right age range.
Kendra,
Yes,
do you want to say something?
I'm working.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
But my company did Tom Brady's
I
house.
just thought you were
Really?
Really?
All of the electronics, the shades, the music, it's Derek Jeter's house, but Crestron rewired it all. And so it's one of our big case studies that's out there, Tom Brady's house.
You work
Nice.
for a subcontractor, Kendra?
Was he drunk when he made the order?
It's a company called Crestron. You never heard of them, but you use them every day. They're the AV behind all this Teams and Zoom and all that. They create the conferencing and all of the plug and play firmware hardware. And it's like a market leader for 42 years.
So you guys supply to the subcontractors that wouldn't
Hey, is
sell
this
it in
an
Tom Brady's house.
advertisement for her company, or is Amy the
Dealers
guest
do the work.
today?
Hey,
Okay.
do you mind? I'm
hey,
trying
hey,
to network here,
Adel,
mofo.
You know, she might pay her advertising fee before anybody else does. So
Yeah.
let it run.
I was
Hey, don't you have to do a commercial here or something?
yeah,
You just
okay.
did.
PCRecruiter.net, everybody. You know what?
Hey, hold on. Have they paid, or should we talk about this other organization first?
Let's talk about paid sponsors.
I am good. I haven't billed anybody for 2 years. I'm going to send them all an email. Say, look, if you want to continue, pay me for a year, and I'll give you a deal on the other year. Okay?
You should just have them donate to Amy's dog shelter.
Buy a shirt.
Maybe, but I think people like who call in regularly should eventually get coffee cards from me. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, it'll help with the show. Also, okay. Anyway, Amy, someday we'll give you some money too. Okay.
That'd be fun.
Okay. Well, let me just come back to this question, everybody. Okay. What she's saying is, I'm looking out for you, potential candidate. I want to know about your future. But if she's saying, how can I make you move tomorrow? Well, let me finish. If she's saying, what's going to make you move tomorrow? She's looking out for herself. I want to make a placement, whether I'm internal or external, it doesn't matter.
No,
My
it's not.
career is about making placements. That's how I
Again,
succeed.
Not
BS.
mutually exclusive.
There you go.
You can do both. You can look out for yourself. You can find great candidates. You can make placements while still doing a good thing by helping somebody move into their dream job. They do not exist in like separate spaces. You can do both.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's what you would say to the person if
Yeah.
I don't like pushy recruiters. And you say, why am I? Well, why not? Okay.
What's being pushy about that? Look, Amy, here,
Said, "I'm
Amy, you
not
know what? Look,
interested."
Amy,
She
I'm
said, "I won't
chef.
move
Do
my
you know
butt."
any successful recruiters who are not pushy
Yeah.
on some level at some point somewhere?
Yeah, they're called human resources. Anyway,
They went and became PMs.
I'm not pushy. I'm not pushy. You guys
you?
are not successful either.
I'm not a pushy. I'm not a pushy.
I'm not a pushy. Okay, thanks. Make fun of my accent, okay? And I'll sue you. I'll sue you.
He's not about that life, Alan.
Oh,
Nobody in Toronto says a boot. Okay, maybe in
about the house.
How about process?
I say process.
Is your process pushy?
Okay.
Do you wrap your food in aluminium?
Okay. Aluminium. No, I'm not English. Okay. You know what? I don't have an English bone in my body. Okay. Do you have candidates who turn down offers because of money? Amy Miller.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So lots of people would say to you, what's wrong with you? Don't you clear the money at the start with these people?
Oh, bless. So here's the
question.
here's the thing about offer declines. Okay. And I realize that as a third party, this affects you a lot more than it affects me because I get paid no matter what. I get that. However, I did a study. I'm going to give you a story. You love stories. I wrote about this on the blog a few years back.
I like examples, not stories.
This is an example. This is an
Okay.
example. Okay.
I'm listening.
Okay. I walk into a VP meeting and they tell me we're not seeing enough resumes. And I say, that's crazy. I know you are. Let me dig into this. So I go pull up all the history for the last 3 months. They've seen great resumes, but what was happening all the way down to the bottom of the funnel, they had a 50% decline rate. Half of our offers were being declined. So I dug into that and said, okay, what the hell is going on? Why are we getting so many declines? And it was all about competing offers with other big tech companies. This is when I was at Microsoft and we were losing to Facebook, Google, and I don't think we lost anybody to Amazon, but Facebook and Google for sure. And it was money because we didn't want to compete with those outrageous offers. We were wanting to offer somebody $300,000 or $400,000 total comp, which I think we would all agree is decent money. And Google and Facebook are throwing $500,000 at these people for mid-level engineers. We just weren't going to do it. And we were okay with that.
Is there a point to that story? Did anybody else get it? Because I sure didn't.
The recruiters understood it.
The point is, I had to show them the data. You can keep going after like the top 1% of engineers and people who have all of these competing offers in hand, and you're going to lose half the time because you're going for this like really like top candidate.
It's not unusual, Animal, for Amy to be interviewing at Microsoft, software mid-level dude, Michael G. Cox, and he hasn't spoken with Facebook or Twitter or whoever yet. And in process, he thinks, oh, I'm going to take some more calls. Microsoft's interested in me. I must be an okay person.
Yep.
He does that. Amy's got him sort of at 300K, 350K. Well, Michael comes back and goes, well, Amy, I appreciate it. We've been talking for, 3, 5, 6 weeks. By the way, I interviewed at Facebook and they're offering me 500. Now Michael's gone through 2 interview cycles at Microsoft, and they're going to lose them for money because.
So what? No, you can
talk about money up front. So to your point, do I cover money up front? Of course I do. I cover it in every conversation. You can talk about it up front, but people's expectations change as they gather more data, as they go on more interviews, as they get more offers. Nobody is writing their initial number in blood and gonna hold to that through the entire process. Their expectations can and do change based on new information that they get. Engineers are incredibly data driven. I actually joke with all of my engineers who I make offers to, like, do you have your spreadsheet ready? Because the first thing they're doing is they're going in and they're plugging every facet of the offer into a spreadsheet against all their other offers. And they're doing all this engineering math and deciding what is the best fit for them.
Okay. Is that
so geeky?
So what? No, hold on a sec.
Every single one of them does it, I swear.
Alan and
salespeople do it too, Amy. They want to know quota, territory, product, less sales. Edge.
I don't think sales folks do it to the same extent, but yes, they do have several things on a sliding scale, and typically they're only focused on the base salary. I had one guy who says, wow, yeah, I'd be making way more at that client. like $20,000 more when I was talking about on target earnings. And they said, but what's the base? And the base salary was like $10,000 less than where they were at. And because of that, they didn't want to move forward. I said, okay, so hold on. If the W-2 is what really matters here, I can beat your job.
Yeah.
But you want it on the base.
Mhm.
You're not in sales. Get out of here.
See, and that's the emotional currency that's happening in their heads. You got to understand that about your candidates, because Michael was never going to close that guy. He had made up his mind. He put an artificial barrier. We recognize that because we're looking at it from a non-emotional place. Doesn't matter to us if he takes it or not. All we're looking at is the numbers, and we're seeing, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense because he'd make more money. But to that candidate, where he was at in his personal situation, it mattered a lot. And really, who are we to tell him he's wrong?
That's
Yeah.
hold
No, what
on
I
a
need to
second.
do is
No,
put
look,
him on
look, you know what?
on a calendar reminder for
Yeah,
April
100%.
15th.
He'll figure it
and
out.
say, hey, next year, or you could have been paying a little bit more in taxes because you would have earned a little bit more this year had you taken this offer.
If the guy's so stupid, you don't want him anyway. You just said it before, and I
No,
think you
it's
were
just
right.
people latch on to certain things that become more important to them. This
They
gentleman,
see the world, every single one of us sees the world through the lens of our own experience. So if this guy has had an experience where a lower base has had some perceived harm, you're not going to change his mind.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me
and
come
I
back
could
to
have
Alan
possibly
before I
changed this.
forget. I can't hold things in my mind so long. Okay.
You gotta write things down.
Okay, so I could have changed his mind
Have a
had I put him
whiteboard.
forward in the process, and he had learned more about the organization and the opportunity, and he had had conversations with all of the management individuals that he'd be working with, and then they show him the training and all of the stuff. But I couldn't move him forward unless he would just at least allow himself to put this on the shelf. It's still
Yep.
very important. Just set it aside for just a minute, and we're going to move forward with this. But he just couldn't do it. So it was an impasse. So I was off.
Okay.
It happens.
It happens.
Candidates are unpredictable.
Yeah.
That's why I laugh every time one of these dinosaurs is out here talking about, oh, don't you pre-close and don't you get them, committed to this and that, and don't you make them write a 2-page
Oh, God.
paragraph of all of their counteroffer. Oh, shut up.
Don't even
It's
start
so
on me with that.
ridiculous. You can't control people. You can only influence them.
Let me go back to what he said. Okay. He gave you Alan Fleur. That's recruiteral.com if you want to see him. And he's a great recruiter, and he's got a nice radio voice. Okay. And he's stentorian. That's what I would call it. Look it up. Look it up,
Alan
everybody.
and I also have faces for
Stentorian.
radio.
Okay, but here's the thing, Amy. I said,
Yes.
don't you clear everybody would say to you, not just me.
Yeah.
Don't you talk to them about money, but when they're
Yes.
coming in? Okay. And he said, well, yeah, but they're going to get other offers. Is that peculiar to
No.
tech? Okay.
No.
You wait a second.
I don't think so.
Yes, I think it is.
Nope.
Hold on. No. Let me just say, Amy has said in the past that these passive candidates, once you get in touch with them and entice them to go to an interview, man, they're no longer passive. They want as much data as they said, so they can do a comparison.
I think
And
so.
Every other recruiter that calls them, yeah, they're like dogs and they're ready to go for that bone. Okay. And you have no control. Okay. And that's specific to the IT field. I understood that I'm coming back to you, I'll give you a chance. Not everybody in every business is going to have candidates who have 3 offers at the same time. It's very unusual. Alan Fleur, okay, rebut me.
Oh, allow me to retort. So, commercial construction. Now, and to your point, you missed something on passive candidate. Passive has a very limited shelf life. If I get a hold of project manager Amy Miller from my company and she's not looking, as soon as she gets into our process, it's very standard for, just like I said before, if you were recording this, is
It's being recorded.
Alan called me. Oh, and well, you know what? I've also gotten called by Mike at that company and Kendra at that other company. You know, maybe I should take those interviews. And then Amy comes back and says, hey, Alan, I know we were talking about 150, but these other 2 companies are talking about 165, 170. And, there's a lot of same, and what are we going to do about that? I would say that the talent shortage is real. The economy and the perception, not in all sectors, but in many sectors, it is even tougher to find these quality candidates because the pool is so much greater and diluted now.
It's like buying a house or buying a car. Like when you're making this big life-changing purchase, are you just going to go with the first one you test drove? Are you going to research where you're getting the best interest rate, or who's the best salesperson that you connect with or can get you the best deal, or is in the neighborhood you want to be in? Like, you don't do that stuff just like, oh, I got a call from a realtor, so yeah, let me go buy that house they showed me. You're not going to do that. You're going to do your research. You're going to kind of dig and figure out what's best for you and what satisfies your personal emotional currency.
Yeah.
Let's do a survey. We got 3 other recruiters here. 2 of them are working sales, 1 the food industry. Okay. Hi, Ernie. Ernie Marino. Great.
Hi, Ernie.
Hello.
What up, Ernesto?
Okay. The problem with this thing is I'm looking at Alan's talking, I'm looking at him, but then when the recording comes out, he's in a different place and I'm looking at the wrong place. But okay. Michael G. Cox, then Kendra, then Ernie. How many of your candidates typically come with more than 1 offer at a time? My bet is not many. Michael G. Cox first.
No, not many. Maybe 2 out of 10.
I win, just as Jerry says. Kendra, how many of your candidates come with multiple offers at the same time?
We're like the Marines. They want to join us.
Oh, yeah, that's a rationalization. She said she's also not multiples.
So is that 0 out of 10? I'm writing this down.
Ernie, how
Like
many of
1
your
out of 10.
candidates? I don't know what titles you place, Ernie, okay? It might be, a factory workers for all I know. How many of your candidates? How many?
Management and food.
Okay. How many of your food production managers, how many of them come with multiple offers at the same time?
Very few, if any.
Wait,
hold on. But they have multiple interviews going on.
Yeah. Now, hold on. I want to ask Ernie a question. Don't get all in your high horse.
So can we say 1 out of 10? Because this is
Ernie.
important. I'm doing math here. Is it 1 out of 10, Ernie?
You could say that.
Get that
Okay.
spreadsheet ready.
So
I've
Ernie,
got it.
When you're talking your positions you do, are you talking about people at the factories?
I'm talking about people at the factories and people at the corporate office that go all the way from a production supervisor, packaging supervisor, all the way up to a VP.
So Animal, I would argue against you with your yay, I was right to Ernie, because when I was at Nestle, I will tell you that when you're working on positions at the factory level, there's a lot less opportunities geographically speaking.
I think you're right. It just depends on whether or not they want to move and how high you go up.
Alan, we're doing science. How about you? How many out of 10 have competing offers?
5.
5 out of 10. Okay. This is a good sample size.
Even I've done construction.
5.
Like I remember I was recruiting a project manager. For some reason, I don't know what they meant. He had to be a strategic project manager for building hospitals, right? And the only issue.
Hold, I need a calculator.
The only issue there was the money. This guy was not going out to a dozen interviews at the same time and getting 5 offers. That I didn't have to worry about that.
But also, okay, so you just really defined your marketplace. You just really niched up that guy when you said the one word hospitals. Because if someone's building hotels or casinos or anything else, that's one thing. If you've got experience building hospitals, you are rare.
Okay, her, if you watch her videos, she's always got that little board. I think she gets.
Yep. Look at that.
And the whiteboard.
Look at that. Hey, and by the way, the longer my candidates go through a process, so the more time that it takes, the higher that percentage is. Because now, if I have been proactively reaching out to them, now they're looking. So it's like, dude, we got to give this guy an offer quick if we're going to make an offer, because this individual is now looking simply because I got them interested in an opportunity.
Hey, I'm doing it.
Oh, Michael, Animal, there's a joke, and this is the same thing, and it involves a gorilla. And
I don't know what that one is. Hold on a second.
Different joke.
I'm going to do some ads. Okay, I haven't charged them, but I'm going to ask them for money. So let me.
God, I have 3 chins in this picture. That's okay. I'm doing it for the peeps.
Look at all the pictures I put out about you.
I know. You take the best screenshots. Here's one.
That was good.
He's going to use that.
That was a good one.
He's going to use that.
There was only
one. And I gift wrapped it for him and handed it to him on a silver platter.
he put a picture of me in his Facebook banner where I am 3 sheets to the wind.
I
shot
lost
on
those sunglasses that are my
Yeah.
picture in the Facebook banner, and I'm so pissed because they were my favorites.
Okay, hold on a second. Kendra said she likes her picture in the Facebook banner. Okay.
Oh well, Kendra wasn't drunk.
Recruitingtricks.com, everybody,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
want to read
You want to
he's
let them
got
to
for
see?
recruiters.
Yeah,
But
10
I
to
put
12
out some very
pictures.
nice looking
You want
ones,
them to
and
see?
only one where she was arguing like that with her mouth open. Okay, she looked pretty good. Okay, but I'll do a couple of ads. Okay, PCRecruiter.net. It is recruiting software for everybody. Doesn't matter what kind of recruiting you're doing. Okay, they love you. Okay, and it's configurable. They don't impose anything on you. You configure you customize the software to suit your own workflow. If you don't know how to do it yourself, they want to help you. And it doesn't matter if you're in your mom's basement or if you're working in a big team, okay? Big or small, they help them all. PCRecruiter.net. Okay, here, Amy, we had the guy on
Amy,
last
make
week.
sure and tag us all on that one.
Oh yeah, I need to
You
do
can
that.
get
We
some.
had
You
the
can
guy
get some.
on last week, the tech hiring manager who hates recruiters, okay?
Yeah.
And,
Really sorry I missed that one.
okay. And he said that recruiters don't know how to negotiate, that you can learn to negotiate. And I said back to him, I said, aren't some people better natural closers than other?
learn it.
And
Mhm.
I remember her telling us in the past that when they have to close a tough candidate, they call her in. Okay. She's a closer. And anybody who's listening to this recruiting podcast or who's watching it, they can
All
tell
three
people
of you.
she's a natural. Yeah, all three of them. I don't care.
Pretty
I
good
like
at
it.
this stuff.
I like it. I'm here with my friends. We're having fun. This is great. I don't care if nobody else listens.
So are
Okay,
you
I just have
saying,
to tell you right now. Okay,
so if Amy's negotiating skills, are you saying that that's why she drives the Cadillac and she doesn't have the steak knives?
I don't know what kind of car she drives, although I have a picture of her from years ago with her dog getting into the car, and they have matching hairdos. Okay.
You don't know that? You don't.
I was when I was driving an old ass Acura.
Okay.
I have a Kia these days.
But anybody who's watching this,
Upgrade.
she's a
Third row seat, baby. Got to put all those kids and dogs somewhere.
she won the recruiting animal award in 2016
did.
for being introvert of the year. Okay.
Show us the trophy.
And she keeps claiming that she's an introvert, but no one would know it from watching this thing.
Trophy.
Okay. She is a natural closer. Does anybody else agree with me that, first of all, that some people are natural closers, and can recruiters learn how to negotiate? And are they, for the most part, bad negotiators?
There's nothing that is natural. Everybody can learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Agreed.
something like you're born with. You just
Yeah,
figure
really.
it out. And if you dedicate some
What's
time
there
to
to
it, yeah, you'll
learn?
get good.
What's there to learn? You say 100 because you figure they're going to.
Oh my God.
Seriously,
bring it
dude.
down.
No, the thing to learn is picking up on the unspoken cues
Yeah.
during these conversations.
Yeah.
Candidates will start to kind of freeze up when you touch on something that's uncomfortable for them. Or if you ask the right questions, you start peeling back like what's really important. So to like Michael's guy, base salary was going to be a sticking point no matter what. So if that's important, you figure out pretty quickly how to address that, how to overcome any concerns about it. I work for a company that caps base salaries. I have to argue about this every day, but you figure out ways to coach around that and help them see the total comp picture from a different perspective. Now, I also recruited against my current company for years and years and use that same thing against them all the time. Now I'm on a different side of it, so I'm spinning it differently. I had to learn that when I got here.
Oh, so you're saying it's like being a poker player.
And that's not something that you learned when you were, 0 years old.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, sure it is.
This is all she said. She said,
No, you're negotiating to get your bottle. You're negotiating to get your diaper changed faster. You're negotiating with Kendra on the schoolyard.
I have been.
Love
So I
that
don't know.
screenshot, Kendra.
I don't know if anybody has this book. This is from the
How to
archives.
negotiate.
Oh man.
Yeah. Do you guys remember this? So somewhere in here is the Neanderthal close, which I've used. Basically, you just throw it in the air and say, "Come on, man!" I've done that.
Nice. Yeah, I used to use that one when I was.
I have it. I have
started.
it next to my. I have it next to my Morgan, flip chart. Do y'all remember this?
yeah, I got it.
Love that. I've got
Your
the
fees
the
are
Morgan
too
one.
high.
I don't like
Oh,
that.
here we go.
I spent
Indecisive
$2.
candidate.
Hold on.
There's only
Let me read
four
this. I'll get
tips.
back to you.
Yeah.
Hold on a sec, Amy. Amy, let's take this. His candidate was an idiot. Okay, I mean, no, really, he was an idiot. You're saying he just had something fixed in his mind based on his past.
That he was an idiot.
It's not an
I mean,
idiot.
that's not for me to say.
I am
And-
saying it, and I want to know, since
You could say that.
you said you come up with that all the time. Okay, how would you have dealt with his silly candidate? What would you have done there? Because I believe if it was such a black and white case, there's no way that you could not
All right,
sway that person.
I got one for you.
Well, I have one. What's wrong
I
with
got one
mine?
for you.
Okay?
Yeah, another one.
You want another good one, Animal, for your recording?
We don't want yours, Animal. This is just a show.
Go, Alan.
Go
Give us a
ahead.
good one. Another good
So-
The
one.
floor is yours. RecruiterAl.com.
So I had looking for
all
a
good.
senior superintendent. We have two of them. We hired one. Let's call it. We hired him at 160. The other guy wants 197, out of our price range.
Mhm.
He and I keep talking. I call him up out of the blue one day and I said, you know what? I just got a stupid thing. Look, dude, I heard a little comment. You might be a little overpriced. Talk to me about what your situation is. This guy was paying, long story short, he told me about what he was paying for his benefits and what our benefits are. And immediately I just saved him $22,000 out
Exactly.
of pocket. So now I said, can I take that 197 and take 22 grand off of it? Oh, sure. Boom. Now we're at 160. We're now at 197. We're at 177. We kept talking about these out of pocket expenses he had. We got down to 170 now, and he started on Monday.
Okay. I was cornering
So-
her.
But here's my thing. I want to, before I answer, what you think you've cornered me on. That's adorable. Put me in a corner.
No one puts baby in a corner.
But here's the thing. You're assuming that Michael didn't have the right outcome in not closing this guy. Because here's the thing. If this guy was that hung up on base and there was no way around it and he was not going to be happy, he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder. He's probably not going to perform super well because he's super stressed out about this perceived loss.
Keep
So
looking.
in this case, Michael probably did the right thing letting the guy go. It's okay. We don't have to hire every person we come into contact with. Sometimes that's not the right thing for the candidate or the company.
And sometimes there's a point where you get them to where you want to go and the amount you want.
Mhm.
And then the next day they say, never mind. I don't want to do
Right.
that.
Right.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I
Why?
quit.
Hold on. Amy also said, I hope I'm not revealing a secret, okay? I tend to do that.
If
She-
I said it out loud on the internet,
well,
it can't possibly be a secret.
Our-
Yeah,
Congratulations.
Kendra knows.
recruiting groups are
No, I
private.
meant him and his big mouth.
Yeah, I do have she knows I have a big mouth. Okay, so sorry. Okay, she said that after a big dispute, I won't say anything more about that, that the candidate called back and graciously declined. Okay. Yeah. So that's what Ernie's talking about. You
The
closed
dispute
them-
wasn't with the candidate. I reread that story. That the candidate had nothing to do with that dispute. That was two idiot hiring managers that were disputing.
That was the dispute, but the point is the offer was going out to this guy from two
Yeah.
different departments in your company. And
Mhm.
just like Ernie said, he called in and said, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm not
It
going to
happens.
go for it.
Happens. Yeah, it happens a lot if
Why,
they're
Ernie?
talking to
Why?
they're talking to
If
somebody
you've-
else like a
if you've
spouse. They don't,
effectively-
Yeah, exactly. I just had a decline because the wife didn't want to move to Seattle at the last minute. They had
I-
talked about this. This was the plan. They were going to do
Exactly.
it. Everything was fine. Once
Exactly.
it's actually real and now, oh shit, now I have to actually make a decision, then the fear comes up. And,
And the other boss
I'd be
comes in
pissed
and-
if my husband didn't listen to me over some dumb recruiter. So,
And
I
the
mean, I
other
can't
boss-
be mad about that.
So why didn't you say, give me your phone number. I want to talk to your wife. Because that's what Tony Burns would tell you in the old
Happy
days.
wife, happy
Get
life.
on the phone with the
Dang
wife.
straight.
Talk to the wife.
Act, Kendra.
It's
Tony
kind of
Burns.
funny because I actually joked with the director about that and said, in the old days, I would accidentally call his house. Oh, sorry, I was looking for your husband while I've got you. Yeah, I know. But you know what? These people are adults.
Yeah.
And he gave me a very specific, there's some family situations that are at work here. COVID was a factor, all of this. Like, I respect a grown ass adult's decision.
Would anybody
That's
else
it.
here? Would anybody else here call the wife?
Yes.
I've
Earlier in the
spoken- I've spoken
process,
to
you
wife.
should definitely have. Here's the thing: what I find is very sudden movements.
Yeah.
Candidates are like deer,
Yeah.
and they're skittish. and you make any sudden movement, they hear a little crack in the forest, boom, they're gone. And so what you needed to do is maybe say, hey, have you spoken to your wife?
Yeah.
Maybe we could have a call. And then next
and we did
hey,
talk
how are
about all
things
that.
going?
Believe me, we covered all of that in the beginning. Wife was on board, like they were committed to getting out of SoCal. They were committed to, coming up here.
Then shit got real.
And then it got real. Like it's
Look.
easy to say yes to something that's just kind of a maybe out there
Let me ask the
possibly.
question again, because everybody likes taking my great questions and talking about something else. Okay.
That's
All right, what's your
relevant.
question?
Who would have called the wife, okay, at that point after the candidate called in and
No,
graciously said?
rarely, very
No.
rarely.
Hell no.
No.
I'm not going to get involved in that
boundary.
business. That's between
What
him
about
and,
you, Ernie?
and his wife.
Ernie, I'm
Yeah.
looking at you.
No, I have times called, but I sometimes ask, let me talk to your wife. But the answer is always the same. They're not going to change.
Yep.
She's pretty set, and there's usually a reason, and it's usually mom is there or somebody's there and they don't want to move. And you kind of look at their resume and see, did they ever move ever? If they didn't, you ain't going nowhere.
Mhm.
I like to point out one lesson.
And the thing is, they wanted to go further east. There's family further east. Now here's the thing. I actually bonded with them over this because where they're trying to get close to, my family owns a farm. So we had a nice little chat about that. And it
you
immediately
offer the
turned
farm?
into, you know what, if there's ever anything here or thereabouts, we should talk. So now I have somebody that I can call in the future
Wanted to
if
go-
and when we expand further east.
Non-transactional
wanted to
recruiter.
go east-
Imagine that.
Yeah,
Imagine.
if they wanted to go east, how did you get them to agree to Seattle in the first place?
Because that's where this job was that he wanted. He's already on the West Coast. They wanted to get out of LA. They were willing to stay on the West Coast at that point. The job was a phenomenal job. But then ultimately, because she has not seen her family for over a year. Like she's struggling. She can't do it. She can't
Did you
commit to another 2 or 3 years on the West Coast.
SoCal?
Yeah, they're in LA. And they would have come to Seattle.
SoCal is Northern
We got
California.
Scotland here now. We got Scotland. And you know what? Everybody is on
LA.
Stephen.
Whatever.
East from
No, I was
Scotland.
going to say it's very beautiful there too.
Oh, Faith and Megara, Stephen O'Donnell.
Yeah. Okay. Look.
I think that's Heidi.
I'm
everybody-
Logic.
sorry, I'm very bad with either one, but I'll drink with you anytime.
Everybody says there's no practical takeaways from this show. So I just had one that I was going to give you. and
What
now
was that?
I got it. Oh, I know what it is. Okay. It was that the candidate can look
Mhm.
very good on paper and be making a very black and white mistake. This is obviously ridiculous what their resistance to this move. And yet you won't be able to make sense with them. Like Michael G. Cox had a guy because the base wasn't $10,000 more. He wouldn't take the job, even though in the end, with the commission package and everything else, he would have made more money. It was just an obvious mistake on the part of the
Was it
candidate.
though?
And you
Was
are
it
telling me, that you can't, even when they're making a dumb error like that, you can't.
You can't say that somebody else's life choice is dumb if that's the right life choice for them.
They're saying 2 and 2 is 5. It's dumb. Okay.
Does that
No,
affect
no.
Where
you?
you're living.
That's not what they're saying. There
Liar.
were and you know what? We don't know for sure, but maybe they were using this $10,000 base salary little
say no?
piece of information as a crutch to not say yes. Maybe there was some other fear of change. Maybe there was a counter happening in the background. Maybe they didn't think they were good enough to be successful in the new company. We don't know what was actually going on behind the one single data point they decided to share.
That's right.
We're dealing with people who, believe it or not, and this is why candidates hate recruiters so fucking much, because we're so fucking arrogant. And we think we have all the answers, and we think we know it all, and we think we know what's best for you, and we think if you don't make the decision that we want you to make, that you're wrong. And it's stupid and it's arrogant, and that's why some of you have a bad reputation.
Way to go,
No.
animal.
Let me tell you why you're wrong. No.
Can you explain it to us, Ernie?
As I said.
Okay, I'm going to do a couple more ads.
That's very
and
emotional.
then I'm going to throw it over.
It's very emotional.
If people want to ask,
Hey, I'm
any
fine.
questions,
Clem.
think about. I've got tons of questions, but you think about questions you'd like to ask. But first, I'm going to do some ads.
Do an ad.
Can you do an ad?
No need to do ads. They're not paying for them anyway. I think so. In sales
I'm gonna
recruiting,
get my
one of the
whiteboard
issues,
ready for the next math we have to do.
Yeah. One of
Okay.
the issues that they've got in sales recruiting is maybe they figured out that at this base level, I can survive.
Yeah.
And everything else is bonus. And even though it was like $150,000 base, but I'm accustomed to 175, that is a lifestyle adjustment that I'm going to have to make, even though normally I'm at 250, but this job will get me to 300. I can't think in those terms because that's the risk part. That's the VAR, the variable compensation. And that variable compensation is if I bust my ass and I'm good at what I do and the planets align, I will get there.
Yeah.
Good answer. Okay.
Fear of change is huge, especially right now.
Hone it, honeit.com. Hone it. The online interview technology. They're not letting me do ads till I bill the people. Okay. So, and also staffingdebt.com. If you're an agency and you think that your clients are ripping you off by doing backdoor hires on the candidates they reject, these guys specialize in collecting your money, staffingdebts.com. So I did hone it. I did Hire Tool, the super duper sourcing tool. I introduced
Love Hire Tool.
She's a fan. Okay, there you go.
Super fan.
PCrecruiter.net.
Configurable.
I don't think I forgot anybody.
Got them all.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, any questions for Amy? Any questions for Amy? Any questions for Amy?
I'm afraid to ask her a question.
No.
Go ahead, Ernie. Ernie, she loves answering questions. So bring out that little
No,
whiteboard.
Ernie wants a one-on-one cold call.
Jump in as we go along.
There. Anybody? Okay, I'll keep going.
Keep going. It's your show. Ask whatever you want. Ask me anything.
Okay. Someone had a rebuttal to you. You were having a little tangle with somebody.
That doesn't sound like me at all.
Yeah, and he said to you, if it's all about the money, they'll break your heart every time. Anybody agree with that? Do you agree with that? If they're haggling about the money, and I think you said that's not true.
That's not true.
Oh, I know what you said, Amy.
Said it again.
What did I say?
You said that if a candidate is haggling, that's not a bad sign.
No, it's a great sign.
Why?
Because they're continuing the conversation.
It's a buying signal.
It's a buying signal. Exactly.
I had
this last week. I literally had this last week. This guy comes back and I told him, I don't bullshit with my offers. The offer you get from me, I promise you, is probably the best offer you're going to get because I do all my negotiation up front. I mean, I've got to go through all these approval processes. I'm going to get you as much as I possibly can out the gate. If you want to talk about expectations, I'm telling you it's not less than this. We're good. All right, fine. This cat comes back talking about he wants 25% more. And I said, no, that's no. And here's why, and walked him through it. And he actually, so we go back and forth for 2 days. He's haggling with me, right? And he finally comes back. He says, well, I just don't understand. Is this just your company's policy that they don't negotiate? I said, no, this is Amy's policy. I told you from the start, we were going to be no less than this number. I gave you a significant offer way above the number you and I had originally agreed to because I negotiated on your behalf so that you didn't have to. Now, if you want me to play a game with you and I could give you a lower offer where we started and then you can ask for more and then I can give you the real offer, we can do that. Or you can just understand that I don't play games with people's money and accept the offer. And 10 minutes later, he accepted the offer.
Obviously, these guys don't experience any shrinkage when you're yelling at them, okay? I would have guessed. I like what Stephen O'Donnell said. That it's, and Amy agree with it. If they're fighting with you, it's a buying signal. It's not bad.
The thing is you don't want people just playing games the whole time. You don't want people doing the dance. That said, you have to respect when someone is haggling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no problem.
Hey, everybody be quiet and listen to Alan's phone call. Dang it, never mind.
We're ready for you, Alan.
Okay, but Stephen, how can you tell whether, it's a serious haggle or not? Because you said you don't want them,
Well, whenever I'm buying something, I depending on how keen I am, I may well walk away once or twice in the conversation and see if they come back after me. Now, if I want to set the ground with a candidate in advance, I'll say to them,
don't play that game.
Yeah, if you walk away, I'm not phoning you back. So we can talk, we can discuss. But don't do the push pull with me. I'm not having it.
Yeah, I've taken offers away. I've said, so what you're telling me is that if you don't get this thing you're asking for, you're declining. Like, I just want to make sure I'm understanding where you're at, because I will gladly go back and tell the hiring manager that this isn't for you and you're declining. Oh, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm just asking questions. Okay, I just want to be clear because I don't play games with people's money.
You
It's
sound
too
I tell you what,
important.
people
You
like that
sound
do as
so
well. What
aggressive.
they sometimes do, if they can't get what they want from you, they'll go round and speak to the hiring manager, and that's
Sure.
a real piss. That's really annoying.
You ever notice? You ever have have you ever come back and said, "Look, I'll go ask, but you need to understand something. We've already agreed on this."
All the
And
time.
Here's something you need to be aware of: is your boss is going, and his boss is going to know exactly what happened in this. So if you want $5,000 more, and I go get it, that's fine. But understand, you're going to be above the radar. All eyes are going to be on you. The expectations of you have just gone up exponentially from that little amount of money. So if that's that important to you, that's fine.
Yeah, and you
we've
can make
done-
the argument on both sides, right?
Yeah.
Like, is a ginormous corporation going to haggle over 5K? You know, it means a lot more to a candidate probably, right? So, I mean,
Yeah.
I can see it from
Yes.
both sides. And well, yes, of course they do, Michael. We know that. But
But
I'm just saying,
I was gonna do but.
it
but
has
go
a
ahead.
bigger impact to the employee than it does to a ginormous corporation, right? But there is a way to
Yeah.
carefully deliver that message to your comp team or to, you know, whoever's doing the approval, so that I don't want to set my candidates up to fail. I don't want to kind of start out with any bad blood or any kind of negative reaction to like, oh, this person was a really hard negotiator. I try to shield both parties from everything that's being said, because both sides are kind of pissed off at
You're the back channel.
the other. I'm the
I wanna
one
hear-
that's like kind of
And
keeping everybody happy.
There are times when a hiring manager wants a person to negotiate because that job requires negotiation.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Not
there
in
are
engineering, but yes, for
there
sure.
are times when a hiring manager gets upset because he has his budget and the company's in not great shape, but he's already told you what he can afford.
And
he's not
people
going
don't
above
like
that.
to hear this. Not to cut you off, Ernie, but people don't like to hear this. But internal equity matters too. Okay,
No, you
I am
have to. I mean, you have to. That's right.
I am so sick of these idiot coaches and thought leaders and people who saw a down economy and decided to hang a shingle that they somehow have some kind of expertise you should pay for. I'm so sick of them saying stupid ass shit like, oh, just make me an offer and I deserve the top of the range. No, you don't. You are not clearly better than the other 10 people I've already hired this year. You might be really good enough that we want you, but how dare you assume that you should be at the absolute top of the range just because your mama told you you were special? You don't know that you're better than everybody else we've already hired here.
Yeah.
What if they don't have a mama?
Snap a Z.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it drives me nuts.
Well, okay.
Hey,
One of the
with
wolves
regards
that
to
raised you-
negotiating a higher base and maybe even a higher draw or guarantee on commissions, what I've seen, like Alan was mentioning earlier, it does put a higher spotlight on them, because if we bring an individual on at 100 versus 75,
Sure.
they are going to have to perform at a higher level,
Yeah.
faster,
Yes.
in this sales position to cover the cost of
Yeah.
them, and they come with a certain cost, and they have to bring a higher return on that investment. So I have that conversation.
Same with
Look, if we're
leveling.
bringing you in
Yeah.
for like an entry level sales gig at 30, 36, or 42. The difference is, yes, you want that 42, but man, you got to be on point and
Scrutiny.
delivering from
Mhm.
training class,
Mhm.
moving forward with some real solid opportunities. And if you don't, here's the negative impact that could have. The organization is going to be looking at you, because this doesn't happen very often.
I get a lot of
they'll say,
engineers.
okay, let's do this instead.
I get a lot of engineers that argue with me about level. They think they're senior, they think they're principal, they think they're, you know, some lofty pie in the sky title. And what they're failing to understand is that if you come in at a principal level, you're now come review time being judged against the competencies and expectations of that level and everybody else who's in that level. And guess what? They outrank you by a lot in terms of experience, years of experience, knowledge base, internal political knowledge, all that stuff. You do not want to fight that battle. Come in at a more conservative level, kick a lot of ass, get promoted fast, and earn that principal title.
And then the other thing too, you got to ask them, you know, if there's a certain salary that we're talking about, a minimum, is that going to pay your bills? Because if it's not, it doesn't matter. Some people
Sure.
come in low, but you can't pay the mortgage with that. And so you should just leave it alone. Don't just.
And that's
Beyond
okay.
That's all
If
right.
it's not for you, that's okay. I never get mad when somebody turns down an offer because I know it's not about me. It's about their personal circumstance, what's right for them, what they need, how they feel, where they want to be. It has nothing to do with me.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that was an interesting thing in one of her job tip videos. She said, don't tell me, I don't care. Your kid goes to Catholic school, costs you $50,000 a year.
It's not relevant.
Your wife has to commute or something. I don't know, a whole bunch of, I'm not interested in your lifestyle. It makes no difference to me. Who's got the nerve to tell somebody, I don't care about your life?
It's not care about your life, Animal. My negotiation like that is really simple. During the Great Recession, I've got Kendra as a candidate. Everybody loved everybody. And I'd say, look, Kendra, here's the thing is if you've got a mortgage, 2 car payments, kids in private school, and you don't have 6 to 8 months in the bank because we don't know where this economy is going, I think you should really take the weekend, call me on Monday, because I don't think you should necessarily take this. But if you got your mortgage, no car payments, kids in public school, and you got 8 to 12 plus months in the bank, here's the benefit of being here. And
That's
that is worth it.
Here's the context of that though. Okay. It's not that I don't care about the personal lives of my candidate.
Right.
The context of that is that your personal situation does not dictate the cost of labor
Right.
in a given area.
Right.
The range is the range, the role pays what the role pays. There's room for negotiation based on your feedback, based on your, seniority, where we think you'll perform, those kinds of things. That is what's going to dictate the compensation, not whether or not you've got a kid in private school. All right. If you've got a kid in private school, that's a personal choice. Right. And if you're, standard, if this doesn't work for you, if this compensation doesn't get you where you need to be, that's okay. You can make that choice. I'm just saying, I'm not going to pay Michael more because he's got 4 kids in private school and Alan less because he's got no mortgage.
3 kids in private school. 3 kids.
However many.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the point. Like, I'm not going to harm someone else's offer because they have a different lifestyle. The range is the range is the range.
Yeah, I get it. I just thought you were surprisingly and refreshingly blunt about it. Okay.
But you will pay me more if I demonstrate that I'm bringing a higher value to the opportunity.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
I don't have time for that. I just want to compliment Alan. I like what he said. I really liked it. Okay. Of course, I liked what our guest. This is all the closing now, everybody. I loved what our guest Amy said. I was so happy to have her back here again. She's
great.
So
fast.
Oh, she's so great. It did go fast, I think. Okay.
Let's do it again.
I think you need to.
She's less. It was helping her with her introvertness.
I'm not finished.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? I want to give all. We're almost done. I want to give all you. So if you want to buy a T-shirt or read her blog, recruiting at yogapants.com.
Recruiting in yogapants.com.
What's wrong with me? Okay. Michael
Me too.
Cox, recruiter. What did you buy? TheSalesRecruiter.com?
Yes.
TheSalesRecruiter.com. Recruiter Al, the construction recruit. He's done everything. Okay. He's one of those guys. Okay. But he's in the construction business now. Construction recruiter par excellence. RecruiterAl.com. Kendra, what's your sales elevator pitch? You want to say something nice about yourself?
I've been both sides of the coin, agency, contractor, and internal, and I'm working for a major AV market leader right now, recruiting salespeople.
And is KendraSadler.com your website?
No.
No. Okay. Ernie Marino, he's not bright enough to have his own URL. Okay. But he's a great guy. He's very smart. You could tell from the things he says here. And also he's living in Chicago where it's 5 below Fahrenheit. I couldn't believe that. Thank you, Ernie, for coming.
Thank you.
And all the way from Scotland, the guy who came in with a very interesting cue for us about negotiations. If they fight with you, it's not a bad sign. Don't be scared. That's a sign. You go for it.
I love it.
Go for it.
This is my family tartan, by the way.
What? Oh, is that the plaid you're wearing for Scotland? Okay.
It's not plaid, it's tartan.
Oh,
It's representing the fam.
Let's go.
Thank you, everybody.